Welcome, students, teachers, and all of our support staff. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity to address our next generation of sustainability leaders. My name is Kedaar Raman, and I am the Director of Corporate Strategy at the New York Power Authority, or as we call it, NYPA. NYPA is the largest state-owned electric utility, and over 80% of our power comes from clean hydroelectric plants located in upstate New York. We also serve as the backbone for the electric grid in New York, transmitting power from upstate New York to downstate New York. We have so much to be proud of here in New York. In addition to the natural beauty of New York State, we also have something special, our ability to bring ideas to life. Whether it may be an idea to run a hydroponic farm in an urban classroom, or something different. Maybe it's an idea to harness something invisible, a force of nature, and turn it into something really valuable and economical. Yes, I am talking about electricity. Around 1830, Joseph Henry pioneered two amazing inventions. One was the telegraph, and the second was the electric motor, which was a machine that could put electricity to work. A few decades later, in 1882, commercial power was first generated in Lower Manhattan by the Edison Electric Company. Today, we look at electrification as not only a marker of economic growth, but also a hope for the future in terms of decarbonization opportunities. The electric sector and the power generation sector in particular has led the fight against climate change, and this will only be bolstered by not only new technologies, but also public and private investment. Decreasing costs for renewables, a growing appetite for electrification, and an increase in the use of electricity for end use, for example, electric vehicles or electric motors, are three major drivers as we move and charge towards the future. Here in New York, the grid is also going through major changes. We are looking to bring in offshore wind generation, complement that with transmission lines to connect power supply and power demand, and support renewable sources of energy with energy storage. As you can tell, I could talk about this for days, but let me bring you all back to where it started. I grew up in Muscat, Oman, which is on the other side of the world. It is a city that sits on the Arabian Sea. Oman has an arid climate and is very different to New York. It is a desert by a classic definition. During my formative years in school, I went on many field trips where I could see the traditional fallage system used by Omani farmers to cultivate crops in what is a very difficult climate. This technology and engineering marvel has stood the test of time. Seeing these fallage systems in action made me believe that with intention, anything is possible. Through my childhood, I was also inspired by my parents. My mother recently retired after many decades teaching math. Often during mealtimes, she would remind me of her own childhood growing up in India, where food security was a major concern. And she would describe stories of rationing food so the entire family could eat. My father was an engineer, and he taught me to be curious and to question things, and he inculcated in me a love for traveling. One of his favorite quotes was, "When there's a will, there's a way." I was inspired by my parents to continue my education with dedication, passion, and intention. I was fortunate to be accepted on a full scholarship to Norwich University in Northfield, Vermont, where I studied electrical and computer engineering. One of my favorite challenges at Norwich was my senior capstone engineering project, where I explored the maintenance of solar panels and the ability to improve their efficiency with maintenance cycles. The smart grid was a big buzzword at that time and had me very curious in terms of what the future could look like. I was accepted to Rensselaer Polytechnic, or RPI, in Troy, New York, where I pursued my master's in electrical engineering with a focus on power systems. During my college days, I was fortunate to meet many great thinkers and minds alike, but none more so than my beloved wife, Maya Raman. Together, we've been blessed with a young child, Kanai, who will be 4 in September, and he is our inspiration for the future. Maya and I always look to share our love for nature and the beautiful outdoors with Kanai, and I think it's catching on. On hot summer days, he'll remind us, hey, it's time to water the plants. NYPA recruited me at a career fair right out of RPI for a role as an engineer at our Blenheim-Gilboa hydroelectric facility, which is one of the largest batteries on the New York State grid. Since then, I have held several roles with increasing responsibility, culminating in my current role as the Director of Corporate Strategy at NYPA. Our Vision 2030 strategy calls out our vision for New York, a thriving, resilient New York powered by clean energy. We are inspired by leaders such as yourselves, your parents, and your teachers to build a powerful and resilient future for New York, where everyone contributes and everyone belongs. We have spoken about how we should be intentional with our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Whatever the challenge may be in front of you, put your best foot forward. It is easy to go with the flow or go through the motions, but every challenge is an opportunity, your opportunity. With that, I would like to wish all of our leaders the very best and much success.